Hey YouTube, it is Foulplay here and we're back again for some more Pauper action. Running through another league here today and picking up where we left off from last week. So now that I've gone for more of a coloured sideboard, greedy sideboard, I'm going to go for Cave of Temptation over Ash Barrens. So this just allows us to hit our sideboard colours a little bit more frequently. You can also sacrifice it at sorcery speed to put 2/1/1 counters on your creatures. With the split today, I think last league I may have had 3 Armadillo Cloak. I've put that back up to 4 and taken Rancor down to 3. Other than that, I'm going to stick to the 2 Cartouche, 2 Sentinel's Eyes, 3 Silhanas, and 3 Communes. Been liking the splits of that so far. I want to continue to test Sentinel's Eyes. I know no one else is really doing it, but I do think Vigilance is just that strong. Another thought that I had is if people are looking at playing Spirited Companion, I think its main strength, I'll just pull it up for you there. Its main strength is really the card draw. It's an enchantment on the battlefield. So it counts as an enchantment and it gives you a card draw. So obviously the enchantment part buffs up your Ancestral Mask and Ethereal Armor. I think the sacrificing it to an Edict effect is less likely. I think really maybe Cetizen Training might be a better option if that's the reason why you're playing it. So Cetizen Training also for 2 mana. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchant creature gets +1 trample. It's not amazing stat-wise, but if my evaluation of Spirited Companion is correct, I feel like Cetizen Training could be consideration situationally. Okay, looking at the sideboard, so we're continuing with the 3 blue Elemental Blast, 2 red Elementals Blast, and 1 Scattershot Archer. Scattershot Archer plus red Elemental Blast, really for that blue matchup against the Fairy/Delver deck. Blue Elemental Blast for the red Blitz matchup with Killing Fiend, etc. Young Wolf for Edict matchups. Flaring Pain for the Catgate deck, which loves to fog damage. And I realized that we didn't have anything to interact with artifacts or enchantments. And then I remembered the existence of Return to Nature. And I also had a lot of difficulty or annoyance with my opponents bringing cards back from their graveyard last league, occasionally. So I think Return to Nature could be a decent shout. It answers all 3 of those spots. Considering the rest of my sideboard is pretty targeted, it's good to have, I suppose, 1 card which can be brought in against a variety of decks. So here we are for match number 1, everyone. We won the die roll and are on the play. I'd really like to keep this hand. We don't have access to white mana. Our white mana sources include 2 caves, and 3 communes and 8 other cards. So that's 13 cards in 53. That's a bit too low for me. We could count on drawing green enchantments, but not a single enchantment in our hand. Even the Armadillo Cloak doesn't require white. This looks a lot better to me. We can throw back 1 Cave of Temptation and get into it. We'll kick it off with Utopia Sprawl. And for white is fine here. Alright, opponent plays Experiment 1. So our opponent is likely on just the green big stuff deck, right? We'll go for Silhana for the evasion. We can use Bogles as a chump blocker. We've bricked on drawing any enchantments of merit at the moment, so that's kind of annoying. This is actually one of the matchups. Oh god, I'm so tempted to trade here, but I think the evasion is too strong. This is one of the matchups I really like Vigilance for against, so the Sentinel's Eyes there. Alright, so Experiment 1, Query and Ranger. Opponent probably setting up for a big next turn. It's possible I should have abundant growth onto the cave, so I think that was a mistake from me. It might make my mana usage this turn a little bit awkward. I'm gonna kick things off with Commune, see if we can hit an enchantment. So there's Armadillo Growth and Ancestral Mask. Ancestral Mask is definitely the strongest candidate here with everything we've got down currently. And we can exactly Ancestral Mask with the mana available. Be nice to get out that abundant growth as well. But we're just off to the races. Alright, here comes Nest Invaders, some evolve triggers. And Young Wolf joins the party as well. So it looks like my opponent has a lot of their low end, nothing too big or scary at the moment. We just take the 5. Commune, wow, that's a really, really great draw. Alright, let's start with Commune then. Goodness, it's really awkward how it keeps dropping that, like minimizing that each time. So abundant growth here. We find ram through. That's not as handy as I'd like it to be. We have 14 damage. Oh man, that's so close. Suppose that's that's a huge strength of this Pauper deck compared to the modern deck, is just all of these little setup auras. They can seem like they're not doing too much. You hit a Commune into the right aura and all of a sudden you're looking really, really strong. Alright, so opponent is attacking all out. They currently have 8 damage. I'm not aware of any Anthem effects that they could be doing. I think Quirion Ranger is the best block. It's likely our opponent's just mana screwed and doing some kind of tilt attack. It's potential that the 1 point matters and they have something to buff what's going on the board, and I should be blocking the experiment one. The fact the Scion token is attacking sort of makes me think this is okay, but maybe not. So that's currently 11 damage. I suppose they could have 2 mutagenic growths. Alright, so activation on Quirion Ranger, returning forest, 3 cards in hand including that forest, and concedes to us. As far as sideboarding is concerned, there's not a whole lot I want to bring in. We can expect some enchantment destruction from our opponent's end. We don't have anything good to answer that though, so we'll run it back. The only card semi-worth considering would possibly be Young Wolf as a chump blocker, but would be taking out Ram through, which definitely does not seem worth it to me. Alright, this hand looks super strong, we'll keep. Alright, an opponent on a mulligan to 6 this game. Nodal Sentinel can potentially give them the option to be very explosive. Goodness, it could be correct here to Utopia Sprawl into Ethereal Commune and Bogle next turn. Or we Bogle now. Then we can Utopia a land, and then we can... Okay, so it doesn't make a difference. Gotcha. I suppose that line is more relevant if you have Silhana Ledgewalker. Goodness. Forgetting the name of my own creatures currently. Alright, opponent in for 2. Comes a Young Wolf. They missed their land drop, so that's pretty unfortunate for our opponent, really. We hit Sentinel's Eyes. That's a really good hit. Cast Commune. And we find the Rancor. We also find the Ancestral Mask. I like the fact Rancor returns. Ancestral Mask is big, but it's sort of slow, and we have 2 expensive cards in hand currently already. So I think in this spot it is correct to take the Rancor, as much as I hate throwing away Ancestral Mask. We can attack here. We've got first strike. We can grow their wolf. That's up to them. Alright, so no blocks from my opponent. We'll see if they draw a land. And they're sending in with both. They do have the chance to untap Nettle Sentinel. Oh, the post-combat Rancor. That's pretty interesting. On the Young Wolf, I would think it's better on the Nettle Sentinel, but I could be wrong. I could be missing something. Guess maybe they're planning on blocking with Nettle Sentinel. It seems a little bit strange to me. So access to 4 mana here. We can only play 1 white spell though. I guess we're going to have to wait on Vigilance. And everything else we're doing is very strong anyway. Really good clock on our opponent, who's mana screwed currently. This could potentially change if they convoke and destroy enchantments and things. Thankfully, Rancor is one that returns. We're very ahead on the current clock. Opponent just concedes. It's very unlikely they can turn it from there, even with the best draw. Match number 2 versus Squishman. We lost the die roll and are on the draw. Opponent is keeping a 7. This one has no creatures. We'll be mulliganing. Alright, down to 5. This is better. We'll keep. Bottom a Bogle. Probably ram through, and the rest of what we've got looks reasonable. Obviously, we need to make our mana to curve out in a tempo-ish fashion. Abundant Growth. Not the one I'm looking for. If that was Utopia Sprawl, I probably Utopia on green and then Bogle plus Commune looking for white source. I don't know. That might be loose. I guess we'll just slow roll it. Our opponent is foretelling a card. Okay. Ash Barrens as well. Alright, well, I guess we Commune, look for white source. If not, we have green source and can abundant anyway. If we miss on both, that's pretty unlikely. Okay, this is hidden behind his stuff. Lovely. So Cave of Temptation is technically a white source, but it's as good as Forest here, given Abundant Growth. So we'll Abundant Growth and look to draw and attack. Hey, we hit another Forest. That's kind of nice. Alright. Opponent is the Ponza deck, so he's gone after our mana there. That's actually screwed us really hard. We needed that for, you know, casting spells and stuff. So I guess we're just going to embarrassingly attack. Maybe Rancor was a good pickup. I have versus deck once before. It was sort of off my radar a little bit there during the intro to the match. I'm not sure there's much we can do here. We're all top-ended. Opponent down to 2 cards in hand. God. This is painful. We hit Rancor, but it's sort of a bad attack currently. So, looking for that white mana. Opponent kicks it off by cycling the Ash Barrens. For Snow Forest, which he plays. And third Thermocast. Sure. We are just getting absolutely savaged here. But if we rip a plane, suddenly things look very different. It's very unlikely, given there's only 2 in the deck, but, you know, slowly play to our very boring for the audience outs. I see how it is, opponent. So you get Utopia Sprawls, but we do not. That's fucking rude as heck. A couple of Lanois Visionaries drawing cards and amassing a board state. Another card Foretold. Attacks, no blocks. Plains, please. We hit Forest, which is not Plains. 0 cards in my opponent's hand. I'll play out the chump blocker. We'll pass back. It's better to play this now. If we hit like our Cave of Temptation, it's going to put us in a better spot. And also, yeah, it's basically just if we hit a Cave of Temptation. Alright, so another one of these off of Foretold, drawing another card, so 2 fresh cards for the opponent. And they're probably blowing up our stuff again. We'll see. Oh, Boarding Party. Yeah, that's right, Cascade. Alright, well, at least they only hit the Lanois Visionary and not a land destruction effect. I'm going to block the 6 damage here. If we take 7, that puts us to 10. We can reload the Rancor on the other Bogle. Really getting to Armadillo Cloak would be crucial. So, yeah, okay. Not enough. We've hit like our entire top end. So once again, there's not a whole lot that we can bring in sideboard-wise. Return to Nature, we could look at disrupting our opponent's mana via interacting with that Utopia Sprawl. I think that's kind of weak. We don't have anything to interact with Cascade either. It's very much just a run it back and keep a quick hand, not a slow clunky hand that's weak to land destruction. Alright, this hand looks fantastic. I'll go ahead and keep. Opponent on 6 cards. Alright, turn 1 Arbor Elf, so they can go after our Utopia Sprawl land, which would definitely suck. This one here, so we can Utopia for white. Actually, drawing the second Utopia fixes a lot of our problems, so now we can cartouche here. Utopia Sprawl the other land to diversify our mana sources, and then we can curve into Ancestral Mask for next turn. Make both the lands even, both for white. Oh my god, Fiery Cannonade. Dude. That's just bad beats. I guess I'm playing into land destruction now. I don't know. That's a huge blowout. Turn 2 Cannonade. Next turn, we're well past it. This is something he's brought in on the draw as well. That's not even on the play. Yeah, I don't know. And now we're flooded. Alright, well that's all our tempo gone, and that's likely the match. Opponent spent the turn foretelling a card. We hit another mana. That's like 3 mana in a row when we don't need it. Off foretell comes the Packmate. Cycle land. Alright, we just need to rip a creature. Come on, deck. Here is the boarding party. Finding Thermotusk. So that goes a lot more of our mana. What can you do? Alright, so I'm going to concede there. I think our opponent got really, really lucky. If that was Ethereal Armor instead of Cartouche, Fiery Cannonade does nothing, and we just unload and wreck face. So, GG's, but bad beats. Match number 3 versus Jamie. We lost the die roll. Opponent is keeping 7. We'll mulligan this no green mana hand. And this no creature hand can go back as well. We'll keep this one. I guess we ditch a white source or 2. I think we probably keep Ethereal Armor. Based off of clock and everything, clock speed. Although if we hit white mana, we can resolve the other one anyway. Alright, well. Apparently the move was throw Sulhana Ledgewalker. Opponent with an island. Oh god. I thought we were facing a Force Spike right then. Snow-covered plains. Okay, so something blue-white. I guess it could be the Gate deck. Although I'm not sure that plays Ash Barrens. It could just be control. Alright, so second Ash Barrens into Snow-Covered Island, Preordain. So both these lands are still currently in hand for my opponent. Oh my goodness. Hey look, at least we can use our mana efficiently. Go team. And with the Preordain last turn, it was top-bottom. Now they're casting another Preordain on their next turn. Again, top-bottom. And another Preordain, alright. So I assume my opponent's going to amass something soon. Hopefully we hit something mana fixing and, you know, we actually have some sort of tempo. Alright, that's definitely not mana fixing. Unlucky. Opponent with deep analysis, and obviously they're gaining life currently off of all this. Sentinel's Eyes. Lovely. Let's keep on sending. 2 damage turn. Pecky. Alright, So Sunscape Familiar. So this is just the basically the storm deck. It just tries to storm off on its own terms, and then it can potentially mill you. There is an ETB creature in this deck. Oh my god, fuck this. There's an ETB creature in my opponent's deck, which prevents damage, I believe, or prevents combat step, makes us skip it. So my opponent will be going for a sideboard card known as Stonehorn Dignity. So for 4 mana, one of which is white, other 3 colorless. 1/4 creature, when it enters the battlefield, target opponent skips his or her next combat phase. It's possible Red Elemental Blast could be handy here to counter some of their effects. They have things like Ephemerate and also Ghostly Flicker, and basically they just go infinite off of those 2 cards, and they're creatures that make it cheaper. Honestly, I'm not seeing a whole lot I want in the sideboard. We'll run it back. I think Ram Through is pretty decent into Stonehorn, if we can get a keepable hand, that is. So keep this, ditch Shilhana. We have a good clock with decent auras. Yeah, cool. Should be noted, opponent is on 6 cards as well. So we brick on mana. If we high roll, playing Commune into another aura is the best thing. I'm going to say we're on the play. Our opponent's going to be a bit slow. It's best to consistently get that damage happening. So we'll just do the attack for 1 this turn. I'm not going to gamble on it. Wall. All right. That's a big sad one, I think. So that gets exiled as well. So something like Rancor obviously is fine. All right, we'll commune this turn. Finding Forest. Maybe I should have communed last turn, guaranteeing the Forest and the Rancor. Still, having Trample against a lot of these walls they put out is nice, and Ephemerate's obviously instant speed too. So blocking, stopping them from fogging damage by block Ephemerate is handy. Snap gets discarded. Obviously, Snap can target their own creatures as well as ours. I mean, it can't really target ours, but it can target their own creatures. We hit white mana. Alright, so can't really do this in a profitable way. I guess if we hit green aura off of the Abundant Growth draw, chucking it on the Cave of Temptation is best. Are you kidding me? God, this is clunky as all heck. So let's just attack for 6 and happy days. Of course, doing it this way switches off us casting double white next turn. It's the catch-22 of the tempo. Here's our main man, Stonehorn Dignitary. What? When did I tap for black? Yeah. No way, deck. No way did I do that. Combat phase skipped. Here comes a Preordain. Oh god, they double topped off the first Preordain. That is terrifying. I'm guessing we're getting ephemerated here. Triple Preordain. So second Preordain was top bottom. Third Preordain was top bottom. Oh my god, opponent is passing to us, and we get the chance to wait, no, surely I did not do that wrong twice. Surely there's some sort of bug there. So opponent can block and lose a creature and then load up with Stonehorn for future turns. We can put them low, but unless they block wrong, we can't kill them. I mean, we can't disrupt the lock that's likely coming. Put them to 1. Get ready. Alright, Muldrifter. evoked. And he concedes. Wow, I was not expecting that. With all the cards he topped with Preordain, unless they were other Preordains, I was definitely not expecting that. Okay, do we want to change anything here? I suppose if we bring in Red Elemental Blast, we can disrupt Ghostly Flicker for a turn. And that could potentially be handy and better than either a Cartouche or a Sentinel's Eyes. I think I kind of like Sentinel's Eyes. I think Cartouche is probably the weak one. So let's bring in Red Elemental Blast and submit. Maybe I should have done that last game as well. This is a very sad hand. You see so much power and so much potential. But unfortunately, we don't have access to white mana, so we have to throw back. Opponent keeping 7. We can keep this. It's pretty slow though. I'm not sure if we do any better. If we mulligan is the issue. Our mana is awkward because our green mana is cave, so it would be a turn 2 Bogle anyway. Alright, let's go down one more. Keep, throw back, throw back. I mean, yeah, it's possibly the best 5 that we could have. If we draw like a Rancor into a land in 2 of our 3 draw steps, that would be really ideal. Commune is not bad. That gives us something to do next turn with the green mana. Alright, so Obscure Storefront into Preordain. Sure. I'm happy to see my opponent doing this and not like interacting with permission spells. First things first, we'll cast a Commune. So we found the mana for next turn. We'll play our white mana. We'll get Ethereal Armor past any kind of counter magic. Sentinel's Eyes, if it gets countered, we can escape it later. This is another reason why I'm liking Sentinel's Eyes. Having something that's good into counter spells is pretty nice, in my opinion. Alright, and we hit more mana, so really no reason not to give our creature trample and start chipping away at our opponent's life total. Alright, there's a Revoke Existence, so maybe an argument to not do it in the fashion that we did. We'll give our creature a little bit extra up front. I'll hold on to the Utopia Sprawl. Maybe my opponent will think we have something. They can't just stonewall us out with 4 toughness anymore off of casting that aura, so that's something. If we had Sentinel's Eyes plus... Oh god, they had the second Revoke, that's painful. I was going to say, if we did the Sentinel's Eyes instead of the Ethereal Armor initially, it would have been better. Although we are just drawing pretty nicely here. And we do want to do Utopia Sprawl for red. On the off chance we draw our Elemental Blast. As our opponent got a counterspell here, Prohibit. Counter target spell if its mana value is 2 or less. If this spell was kicked, counter that spell of mana value 4 or less instead. Sure. Alright. Oh man, this is absolutely savage. Opponent finds the Auramancer. Bring back another Revoke. I mean... Yeah, Savage is just 100% what's going on right now. Commune, alright, that's possibly the best card we could have hit just now. Ancestral Mask is decent. Red Elemental Blast to the bottom of our library. So this will give us an attack for this turn, and then... Oh no, this is a bad attack. I forgot. Revoke's going to cost less to cast because he controls this wall here. And we can pretty much just concede at that. Although, do they see it? Okay, opponent lets it go through. I'll take that. Well, while we can, we'll take that. Alright, revoke now. Oh, it's a sorcery. It's not an instant. That's why they didn't do it. Alright, I secretly made the best line without realizing it. Lame as heck. Hey, look, we're getting ready to go wide here. Go team. Alright, opponent in for 2 in the air. Snap, returning their own creature. Oh, that is good value. That is really good value. Oh, goodness. So now they get the loot effect again for 2 turns to continue to draw them to what they need. I thought maybe going Auromats would be good, but this forwards their game plan a little bit more than just disrupting ours. Although currently we can attack for 2. I don't know. It's not going to do anything. They've got these walls. It's getting pretty close to curtains for us. Alright, opponent with another familiar. Oh my goodness. Well, that's a clock. It's not a very good clock, but it's a clock. We can kill our opponent in 6 turns if they don't lock us out. I mean, now they have a flyer though. I mean, that's a card. Hopefully they don't have interaction for it. The only creature that can block is this flying one. Okay, it looks like we have a ball game. Yep, so this will gain life or destroy an enchantment, and they go for the enchantment destruction. Oh my goodness, this is like revoke existence on a body. Although it can't hit artifacts. It's kind of gas for a deck like my opponent's, which runs Ephemerate, right? Okay, we continue going. So this will force them to block with these 2 creatures, and we can reload on Silhana Ledgewalker afterwards. I would say out of the creatures to hit, Dawnbringer is probably slightly the better one to kill. He doesn't allow the reset onto Silhana Ledgewalker, so I think that was... maybe that was smart from him, I'm not sure. Another Sunscape familiar. Alright, so they can block our ground guy for days. That is handy though. Alright, we can win right here off of Ram Through if he does not have counter magic. Alright, and trample damage for the win. Let's go. What an absolute clutch draw. That was disgusting. Oh my goodness. I think Ram Through was possibly the only card in our deck that won it for us there. Ancestral Mask maybe, but they still get a big block. Wow, I've been having a lot of trouble with this Familiars deck, so it felt good to just top deck out of it. Okay, match number 4. We won the die roll on the play. Goodness. I think this is a mulligan as good as the enchantments are. Oh, lame. Opponent keeping 7, so I mean a good 4, a good 3, a good 2. Alright, bottom land, Ram Through, forest. This could be an uphill battle, running up that Cape Bush hill. We will see. An island deck. I'll treat myself to Rancor, don't mind if I do. Oh, Force Fight. Come on, opponent. No way, man. Alright, we're versing Faeries. Well, at least he's done that instead of holding up Counterspell and Spellstutter Sprite, so we can potentially resolve something. Losing Trample sucks, though. Land. Fuck me, deck. help a boy out. God, I am stuttering like hell this evening. Alright, the deck plays 2 force spikes normally, and there's both of them, so whatever. I guess my opponent was just prepared. That's all it comes down to, right? Well, I suppose we can attack in this spell starter sprite. I see no reason not to. Little does our opponent know that, like, we're just laying a trap for them, and now we've got them on the back foot, right? Here comes some ninjutsu magic. Moon Circuit Hagger for the 1-card loot. Oh no, it's just a card drawer ability. I thought it was loot. Never mind. And that's not what we're looking for. Well, let's attack into their next spell starter sprite. What? No, opponent. Surely you have another one. Use it on my Bogle. I suppose they're holding up Counterspell in that spot if they didn't play the Faeries here during their turn. It's pretty indicative of Counterspell being in hand. I don't know how we play around that. 1 card on the bottom. Sure, I will block this. Yeah, could be worse. Ram through. All right, let's go to the races. Let's start fighting things. All right, so my opponent ninjutsu'd both hackers. So if it entered this turn, you don't do the discard effect. So that's why they're doing it this way. And I'll concede. All right. Well, we do have a sideboard plan here. We have our Scattershot Archer and our Red Elemental Blast. Not Flaring Pain. That is incorrect. And that's about it for bringing in. Now the tough decision of what to board out. I think Cartouche is possibly our weakest aura here. I like Sentinel's Eyes. It plays well into counter magic, in my opinion. We do need to be aware of a null post board as well. And we're bringing in these creatures. I might take out 1 Silhana Ledgewalker. It's pretty weak into flying anyway. Yeah, it's pretty weak into flying, which my opponent has a lot of. We do have to be a little bit concerned of things like Snap or Echoing Truth interacting with our Scattershot Archer. That's why I like the idea of this Red Elemental Blast. Alright, our hand is sort of Aura Light, but our mana is good, and Commune is a handy card. I think this is a keep, but if we draw badly, we're going to be in a pretty awful spot. Kick things off with Bogle. Interestingly enough, if we hit a green aura here off of Commune, we won't be able to play it. I think we probably planes into Commune. I think we try and play around Force Spike here if we can. Armadillo Cloak, I mean, okay. We don't have much of a choice but to go for our top end. Armadillo Cloak does have good synergy with Ram Through though, so it's not all bad. Opponent with the Faeries here. So again, it could be Force Spike or it could be a null. They're not going to have a spell starter sprite here. 1 top, 1 bottom with the double scry. Oh my goodness, give me not land. Deck, come on buddy. Not this crap. Alright, well, it sucks to walk into Force Spike, but if not, we're walking into Counterspell maybe next turn, so I don't know. I don't think you should play around a 2-of, especially not in game 1, when they're played 1, and then you're playing around effectively a 1-of. It's weak to Counterspell, but Spell Pierce, alright. We're just like a mana off this whole game, aren't we? My goodness. Well, good news is Cave of Temptation is going to come in and our opponent's not going to be able to counter it. Alright, here comes the Ninjutsu Bros. Ninja of Deep Hours. My fucking goodness. Alright, let's beef up our Bogle boy. Get in there. Feels pretty good. We have a semi-clock right now. Interestingly enough, we could have shut off the Ninja of Deep Hours a little bit there, which may have been worthwhile. Commune. You're welcome to play around this opponent. Okay, I guess. Should respond with that on the stack? Maybe not. Alright, let's attack. It's interesting that they're countering the Commune there and not countering the Aura we try to cast off the Commune. It doesn't quite seem right to me, but... Ninjutsu. For Ninjutsu. For Ninjutsu. Oh my god, look at this fucking card draw, man. I guess we respond to the first one so they don't have Spell Starter Sprite in hand. Yeah, that was kind of wrong. And then maybe we respond before damage so they draw one less card, or... I think they're just countering the ram through anyway. Faeries here. I should have responded with that on the stack so they couldn't counter ram through with Spell Starter Sprite. I'm playing this game really badly right now. Alright, well, fight. See what our opponent does. Okay, they let it happen. I mean, I think that's understandable. It's reasonable for my opponent. Let's this one resolve. Oh, Rancor. Boy, I would like to resolve a Rancor. I'm going to hold back on blocks. We know our opponent has the counter in hand. If we top roll Aura next turn, we might be able to pass one of the Auras through counter magic. I mean, they're only attacking for one now, so I prefer that to 5, right? Alright, another Ninja of Deep Hours. Faeries here again for more scry action. And top bottom from the opponent. Fuck. This one's probably lost. Alright, well, you know we're in trouble when they're playing Spell Starter Sprite end step for a bigger attack. So block here, we take 6, and if they ninjutsu 1 2-power creature, we just lose. So there it is. That's GG's. So yeah, like drawing very unfortunately there. I feel like our opponent potentially high rolled these 4 spikes and spell pierces, and if I played like a turn later than what I did on every spell, we actually potentially could have won this match. In general, I wouldn't want to play around a 2 of. I think the spell pierce is more like a 4 of, so that's maybe more understandable to play around. But the more tempo you give them, the more fairies they're going to put down, the more their Spell Starter Sprite's going to be able to counter. Alright, match number 5, 5th and final match. Lost the die roll. We're versing Elvaltar, and I swear I've versed this person before. We'll keep this hand, throw a scout. Yeah, I suppose there's some cards that are protection from monocolored, so Bogle is slightly better than the scout. Thornwood Timbers, not an artifact land. Okay, so I think going in on Bogle is just fine. And our opponent has foretold a card, so they are very likely another Ponza deck. And of course, it's hiding behind my opponent's foretell because this can't be a decent size for us. So if they're going for land destruction, that stuff's kind of weak, right? Getting down ethereal armor early could be kind of handy. Although it plays into land destruction, into armadillo cloak, but our other 1-mana auras are white in that spot, right? So sort of unfortunate. Maybe they go after green mana. I think it's extremely unlikely. Alright, Lonely Sandbar. And potentially holding up some kind of counter magic, but I'm not sure what, so let's keep him honest, make him have it. Attack for 5. Alright, well, we're resolving cards. If our opponent doesn't destroy our lands, we're 2 turns away from activating Cave of Temptation for an extra 2 damage as well. Alright, so Foretell. Scry 2 cards and then draw 2 cards. Both cards to the top. Alright, opponent plays Desert. I have not seen this card played in anything. Alright, land, attack. Yield to the trigger. How much of this are we going to be able to resolve here? A lot of it, apparently. Okay. Well, we do have lethal on board now with the Cave of Temptation activation. Assuming no blockers, draw 2 cards, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Is this like... Is my opponent a Time Walk deck? I don't even know if that exists in Pauper, but like normally if blue's ramping for extra turns, and he's not interacting with us in any way. He's got to be comboing in some way, right? Oh, I thought I had that paused. I was thinking for a second. So either way here, it is 2 damage added to our creature. I think our opponent's gained some life off of these cards because I thought we had them a little bit lower. So an attack here without any blocks or anything will put them to 1. I suppose if he wants to counter this, we don't have a second enchantment in the graveyard to escape with. Arcane Denial. Counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of your next upkeep. You draw a card at the beginning of next turn's upkeep. Okay. Sure. Opponent's definitely trying to do something big. Yes, I would love to draw cards if my opponent is going to let me. Always yes. Yes, I'd like 2 cards, please. So regardless of us drawing cards, our opponent is forced into drawing his card. So there's no advantage in saying no. Alright, so let's try diversifying some damage here. See how our opponent responds. This is 2 instances of lethal. I feel like this is a pretty safe attack at this point. Accumulated knowledge. Draw a card, and then draw cards equal to accumulated knowledge in your graveyard. So opponent draws 2 cards. Weather the Storm. Alright. I am punished for not playing Ancestral Mask, I suppose. We have 11 damage and put our opponent to 1. 2, pardon me. No, wait. 1, yeah. Alright, so now we can throw down here. Play our last creature. Alright. So if we'd have played the Ancestral Mask pre-combat, Weather the Storm would have gained an extra 3 life, but we would have dealt an extra 6 damage. So it was incorrect not to play Ancestral Mask because of Weather the Storm main deck. Opponent has foretold a card. I see no reason to do this pre-combat. Maybe I could have Cave of Temptation activationed. Let's see what they do. Moment's Peace. It's a fog effect, sure. And it has flashback as well, unfortunately. Opponent activates one of their foretold cards. Scrying 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Stream of Thought. Target player mills 4 cards. You shuffle up to 4 cards from your graveyard to your library. So with this, they're targeting us. They're replicating it, so it gets copied. Okay, I think they're targeting us with both. We can now get back our Sentinel's Eyes. Alright, so we will escape our Sentinel's Eyes onto one of our guys. And it looks like our opponent's win condition is milling us out. I think we can safely active Cave of Temptation. I don't see it making a difference. Opponent casts Tangle. Okay. Fortunately, we've got one creature which has Vigilance. Sentinel's Eyes coming in clutch. Alright, so it is now our turn. We are now going to attack. I'm guessing a Moment's Peace is going to get flashback. Behold the Multiverse. Sure. So that is now 3 copies of that card foretold and thrown away. 1 card top, 1 card bottom with the scry. Accumulated knowledge. So opponent draws 3 effectively. And 600 years later, this is flashback. Alright. So go to damage. We'll resolve the Armadillo Cloak so we can get past a potential chump blocker and pass. Here's Weather the Storm. Well, we do kill in like 1 attack almost, so maybe Sentinel's Eye should have been on Bogle and we should be pumping up 1 creature instead of going wide. Pieces of the puzzle. Oh, another Weather the Storm. Lovely. So they'll get that and Behold the Multiverse. Alright, so we know 2 cards in our opponent's hand effectively. Growth Chamber, bouncing one of these lands, I imagine. Bounce to normal island instead of one of the lands that gains them life. Very bizarre. Let's attack. Behold the Multiverse. Sure. So that is their 4th Behold the Multiverse. Scrying 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Another one of these. Sure. Opponent is tapped out. This is a good time to resolve more damage before they can gain life off of a Weather the Storm. Alright, Stream of Thought. Opponent is going to try and mill us out here with 3 iterations. So that's mill 12. Still have a decent number of cards in our library. Opponent has this in his graveyard. Currently they're 1 mana short of casting it, so they must have another Tangle in hand if they're doing this. We find a Utopia Sprawl. I guess holding back with one of our creatures that doesn't have vigilance could be decent, potentially. Alright. A 3rd fog effect. Okie dokie. Opponent has foretold a card. Not sure exactly what it is. Sure. Serve in with more than lethal. I thought they already did all 4 of that card, but maybe they've got one more. Maybe I miscounted. Maybe they put it back to their hand somehow and I missed it. Oh, wait. No, the Stream of Thought puts cards back, right? May shuffle up to 4 cards from your graveyard into your library. Gotcha. So they can chain these as well with each other so they never run out. Moment's Peace. There's 2 Moment's Peace in the graveyard available for flashback. There's been a lot of spells played here. I don't want to play Commune into a Weather the Storm. Opponent casts Weather the Storm. Sure. Pieces of the puzzle. Finding, behold, the multiverse, frantic inventory, growth spiral, Weather the Storm. Oh my god, another Weather the Storm. Puts frantic inventory, behold the multiverse, into hand with pieces of the puzzle. Okay. And then they cast frantic inventory. Sure. So we have an attack here. Opponent has another fog effect. And they're holding up behold the multiverse? No. Wait, why is this 1 mana? Oh, they must have foretold it and I missed it. Okay. It's fine. Flashback Fog. Sure. Opponent has 12 cards left in their own library. We could cast Commune now. I don't think it increases our clock in any significant fashion. The card could be handy for not getting milled out, so we'll just leave it in hand. Bogle I probably could have played. Stream of Thought, we're milling a bunch. So I guess if we're milling 12 cards here, I guess like 6 cards is the same as 5 cards, right? And opponent has 1 more Moment's Peace in their graveyard there, so they can flash that back. And potentially mill us out next turn if they have 1 more of the mill card, Stream of Thought. And we are indeed fogged. Here's pieces of the puzzle. Opponent finds a fog effect and a mill effect, so we do just lose here to 5 mana, make us mill 8 cards. Alright, well that happens. This is fine though. Our opponent's eaten up a heck of a lot of their clock compared to us. Our clock is very healthy. And we have very good cards in our sideboard for this matchup in Flaring Pain. Also, Return to Nature is really, really good at interacting with our opponent's graveyard, so we can get rid of any problem cards with it. Cards to take out, Ram Through, Cartouche. After that, we might actually be overboarding a little bit here. Maybe we want to trim down on Return to Nature, and I might trim 1 Silhana. I want to give us like as optimal build as possible without over sideboarding. Alright, this hand looks really strong, decently fast. We will keep. Opponent tapped land, pass to us. Yes, we hit mana for a turn 3 Ancestral Mask. That's very nice. We attack for 3 here. So Ancestral Mask is attacking for... adds 5, so we'll attack for 8. Hell yeah. Lose focus. So our opponent has now got counter magic in their deck. Maybe I should have looked up a sideboard list for my opponent. We didn't see a single counter magic spell all first game. Replicate. When you cast this spell, you may copy it. Okay. So our mana is sort of awkward here. I guess maybe we play around, lose focus a little bit. we miss out on 1 damage by playing Sentinel's Eyes here instead of Armadillo Cloak. The trample and life gain is not relevant. We find Commune. Alright, so we'll start things off by casting Armadillo Cloak. Now attack for 8, put our opponent to 2. And I think we hold Commune for next turn. There's potential we tap the cave and look for a green aura and look for the win. I feel like I'm playing into a counterspell there. Maybe I'm just supposed to. I'm not sure. In our end step, our opponent did the Frantic Inventory. And, I mean, we do just have lethal here, so we can safely attack, see if our opponent fogs. Alright, well, there's a fog. Sure. Resolve Commune. Damn, we lose a Flaring Pain out of that. That's very annoying. Funny little bugs from Magic Online. It remembered the mana floating. That's interesting. Accumulated knowledge. God. Alright, opponent goes for pieces of the puzzles. No fog effect found. Does this just mean we win, or does... Hey look, Abundant Growth has bugged out. It has jumped across. Moment's Peace. Sure. With the pieces last turn as well, my opponent put the 2 Beholds into his hand. One of which is on Foretell. Guess we attack here. Alright, that is come off of Foretell. Opponent put both cards on top of their library, which isn't great to see. This flashback, sure. So, we'll Abundant Growth. Draw dead. Really looking to hit those Flaring Pains. Okay, now this card could potentially come in handy at some point. This could come very, very in handy. Moment's Peace. Sure. So probably during my opponent's next turn, usually they're probably going to look to set up Foretells and use their mana efficiently and save 3 mana. If in their end step we destroy this, we might be able to catch them out and get a win out of it. And that would be really, really nice, obviously. I don't want to give them any extra information in the meantime, though. Looks like they've just gone to their end step. Alright, we'll try for it, and we'll see what this yields. Opponent in cleanup. I guess I should have cleanup, let them discard first. Maybe that was wrong by me. Alright, well, they're holding another Moment's Peace anyway, so... Never able to resolve a freaking spell, apparently. The good news is, I know this is frustrating at the moment. The good news is, Return to Nature. Sure, opponent. He's back in returns as well, except his artwork's cooler than mine. It's like Cinderella. Not Cinderella. Yes, Cinderella? It's the one where they, with the glass slipper. Anyway. That's some pretty cool artwork. Stream of Thought. Alright. So the more my opponent mills me, the more I hit my sideboard card, which can be flashed back, which stops damage from being prevented. So I'd have to get very unlucky to just outright lose this game. Losing Ethereal Armor sucks, though. I'll give it that. Alright, yes, we'll Abundant Growth again. Blank again. I'll cast this. They did like Weather the Storm last turn. I guess they could do another one this turn. Not really sure. The fact they're on like 17 life off that first Weather the Storm. Okay, they brick. Maybe this is intentional, not utilizing one of these because it's not a lethal attack. Little does our opponent know though, they are potentially playing into our plan by making us mill damage prevention. 2 cards on Foretell from my opponent. Yeah, sure. We will throw down a mask. Opponent plays 1 Behold the Multiverse. Scrying 1 top, 1 bottom. Alright, opponent flashes back a moment's space, and that's 3 in exile right now. 1 card on Foretell still. Here's pieces of the puzzle. Alright, so opponent keeps moment's space and pieces of the puzzle off of that one. So they've found their 4th pieces of the puzzle. Goodness, we're not catching many breaks here. Alright, Tangle, sure. It's active like 1 cave here. I guess we can active both. We've got like 3 abundant growth lands. It's very unlikely they're packing that much enchantment destruction, right? Alright, opponent. Behold the Multiverse off of Foretell, I think. Or Hardcast, I'm unsure. Pieces of the puzzle. Stern Dismissal. Return target creature or enchantment opponent controls to its owner's hand. So he puts Weather the Storm and Return to Nature into hand. Sure. We still have lethal if we draw what we need to. Weather the Storm. Alright, whatever. Opponent has time. Take back everything I said. Opponent has time here. Alright, we get in for 13. Opponent on 7 again. Opponent pieces of the puzzle during his turn. Puts Weather the Storm and Thorn into the graveyard. Puts Eureka and Respite into hand. So Eureka being cast. Sure. Alright, well they're still not milling us out. Maybe they don't. They only have 4 cards left in their library. Currently. So maybe they're just getting some really bad luck with being able to mill us currently. Respite, sure. God, this is a slow game, but we are getting really, really close to winning the game and clocking our opponent on the subsequent game 3. Alright, here's Stream of Thought, and opponent does it 3 times to mill 12. Flaring Pain, there you are, you beautiful, beautiful card. It can potentially get Arcane Denialed. Some of those are in the graveyard. We can bet if it goes to a game 3, our opponent will save it for the Flaring Pains, but we'll take it while we can get it. I'm not entirely sure which cards my opponent targeted. Perhaps I should have paid better attention, but they did Stream of Thought stuff back into their library because now they're up to 11 cards. We will attack here. Respite. Sure. We will flash back our Flaring Pain. And they can potentially counter this or play another effect like Moment's Peace. Yeah, they've got this forest here hiding behind the exile zone. But wait a minute, it doesn't matter because even if they cast the other one, damage can't be prevented this turn regardless. So I think that's just a win. Opponent plays a Tangle in response. We deal damage, win the match. Clock of 2 minutes 30 going into the third match. So we can expect from our opponent Enchantment Destruction and Counter Magic this game. Its potential, we should be bringing in the third Return to Nature. I think we're probably okay without doing that though. I think 5 cards is probably plenty considering their win condition of milling draws us into one of ours that, you know, counters theirs. It should also be noted that our opponent might actually save their Return to Nature now to answer our Flaring Pain, which would be annoying, but oh well. Alright, opponent mulls to 6, we'll do the same. This looks better, we'll keep. Bottoming 1 Glade Cover Scout. We've got 2 natural draws to try and hit our mana to curve out for turn 2. Definitely leading on the Bogle here. Alright, opponent Desert Pass, cool, we find that one, so we can Utopia Sprawl for white. Can Ethereal Armor, and we can Abundant Growth here. Drawing a card, attacking for 4. Really, really sweet sequencing. Opponent Accumulate Knowledge, sure. They've only got 2 minutes on the clock here. It's probably going to be timed, even though I think we're likely to win. If the clock wasn't a factor, I think we're probably likely to win anyway. Okay, well, Abundant Growth here. Drawing a card. Sure. Another 2 damage. Attack for 7, put our opponent to 10. I don't see any reason to hold up Return to Nature, so I'll Bogle and pass. Opponent Frantic Inventory. We find Utopia Sprawl. Goodness, that doesn't do much, does it? We're 1 mana short of activating Cave. Guess the jig's up. We can go for red on that one. Doesn't really make a huge difference. I guess it taps for red already, and so does this one, and so does this one, so... Weather the Storm, sure. Frantic Inventory, Sorcery Speed, Growth Chamber. Maybe I should be playing that pre-combat and then cracking the cave, but that might be just hasty. Tangle, sure. Man, this vigilance is so strong. It's really devaluing Tangle a lot. Alright, let's bop up our guy. Did I tap 1 mana too many? Oh, whoops. Alright, well, we have access to red here and here, so that's fine. I didn't count the second Utopia Sprawl, apparently. Piece of the puzzle. They found a Moment's Peace, another Weather the Storm. What did they do? Put Moment's Peace and Weather the Storm into their hand. Sure. So they can fog. I don't see how this is getting them any closer to winning though. Sure. Second main. We'll green-white. We'll exile this from their graveyard before they have access to Weather the Storm. So they potentially don't gain as much life off Weather the Storm. Opponent casts accumulated knowledge, drawing 2 cards. They also did a growth chamber, bouncing a land. Here's Weather the Storm, sure thing. Flaring Pain, pretty impressive draw. Put our opponent to 2. And we're going to kill them before the clock does, so that's nice. Pieces of the puzzle. I mean, they've got 18 seconds and they're still doing random cantrip stuff. Frantic Inventory and Island into hand. No, into graveyard, pardon me. So was that Forest? Okay. Opponent concedes. So obviously we had the Flaring Pain in hand anyway, so we had that one wrapped up regardless of what our opponent was doing. Probably sucks for him to lose on time, and that's frustrating and all, but I mean, we're very fortunate we have this as sideboard tech, or we would be in a lot of trouble. So needless to say, I was really happy with how the deck performed today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm pretty happy with my main deck configuration at the moment. Maybe I should be trimming out on something else and having Rancor as a 4 of. We saw a strength of Sentinel's Eyes there in a couple of the matches. It's pretty rare to come up against a fog deck like that, so that's probably not the most important takeaway, is it reduces the potency of their fog, which stops creatures from untapping. I think it was Tangle. Cave of Temptation was pretty decent in my opinion. I really like the sorcery speed activation to buff the creature as well. That's a good payoff. And with the sideboard, I'm pretty happy with the configuration. I think the inclusion of Return to Nature removes an issue that I had with the deck or with my sideboard in the previous makeup, where it just doesn't hit enough matchups. Like, you go into the Affinity matchup, you don't have interaction with artifacts. You go into the mirror match, the Bogle matchup, you don't have interaction with enchantments. If you could go like, I think it's Dust to Dust, which is 3 mana, double white. So for 3 mana, you exile 2 artifacts. I think with the greediness of the Elemental Blast that I am running and the Flaring Pain, my sideboard's not very versatile. They're all very much for specific matchups, right? So yeah, Return to Nature, decent there. I would say the one thing I wish I had was a good sideboard answer to my opponent's boarding in Enchantment Destruction. I mean, maybe I could run like a Dispel or a Negate or something over some of the Elemental Blasts here. I'm still unsure on Young Wolf. Maybe that's a flex slot I should be removing. The modern player in me really hates losing to sacrifice a creature effect though. So I think it's staying for the time being. Maybe I'll experiment with reducing the number to 2 or something. I'm a little bit hesitant doing that though, while I've only got 2 copies of Cartouche in the main deck. So that's going to be it for today's videos, guys. Thank you very much if you did make it here right up until the end. It was a long one, but you know, we got the job done, and I hope you enjoyed seeing it as much as I enjoyed piloting it. Until next time, have a great day, and I'll see you around.